When you first saw what Boardman Township put out yesterday, the press release, the video clip, what was your first reaction?
Well, I was really shocked, to be honest. We've had a good relationship with Boardman, and I haven't taken a position really one way or the other on the fire department choices and what they're looking into doing. And we always say we're willing to sit and talk about ways we could move forward to better things and that sort of thing. And so, I tried to be sort of in the middle, if you will, and just basically, talk about what we do and what we've done in the community since 2010 and all the trips we've done since that period of time, and the fact that we haven't had any complaints from any of the trustees from that point forward. I've never had a complaint from the trustees. And then I saw that, and it's talking about the last, 10 months or so, and I'm thinking, okay, I also haven't had any complaints since January, since the beginning of the year. And I'm thinking, okay, I'm not understanding how this is happening. And then we started doing a little bit more research and realized that what was going on was an analysis of how the car in Boardman, their ambulance, was being used. Because we keep 2 vehicles in Boardman. And then if we don't have a car available and we don't have another one somewhere really close, we either at that point or just if we need another car right away, Boardman would come in their Medic 71, right? Yeah, Medic 71 is what they call their ambulance. And they would respond. And again, that way there's basically 3 ambulances running in Boardman. And so, I sort of had a problem with trying to understand how we were, not having people get ambulances. And I realized then that they were still getting ambulances, but what they were doing is they were getting Medic 71. And as we researched it and went back and looked at our, it's called the Boardman Fire Department Standard Operating Guidelines, 505, effective date 1/1/24, and we looked at that and we said, okay, this spells out how we work with their Medic 71 unit as a backup to us, or a first responder. If we're not around, they go first. And basically that's what we've been doing this year, and that's where that came from. And it came from functioning under those guidelines, so we really didn't do anything that you could say was wrong. And certainly if we do something wrong, we'll own it. If we've made a mistake, if there is an issue we want it addressed, there's no way we're trying to put our head in the sand, as the saying goes. That's not who we are. And so, yeah, I didn't understand why we were at that point where the discussion was going to that, where we weren't performing. I don't think that's really where we are with things.
The number they used in this ad was 271 times that Lane was contacted and couldn't respond.
Yes.
Am I
correct?
I got that right. And you disagree? Do you agree or you disagree?
No,
with that?
I don't disagree with that, because we do in a year in Boardman, we'll do over 4,000 calls. We'll respond over 4,000 times a year in Boardman. So so far at this point in the year, I can see that we get busy and we use our first car in Boardman. We use our second car in Boardman. We could end up using a third car coming from another community close by. And we move all our vehicles all the time. They're always moving. All the vehicles that we have out on the road adjust and move because we want to be able to fill the holes adequately so nobody has to wait. And basically that's what we've been doing in Boardman. And we just didn't think that, with the relationship we had with the firefighters and running Medic 71, that there was any problem, because again, we hadn't heard anything. That's, again, I would think that if people weren't getting ambulances, they'd be calling the trustees, they'd be calling the township administrator, they'd be calling everybody and their son to say, nobody showed up. Well, that isn't the case. Ambulances are showing up. And it looked like when we got back and looked at this operating agreement, we realized really that was simply them responding like they're supposed to as the third ambulance in Boardman.
So what you're saying is you respond 4,000 times in Boardman, and of those 4,000, 271 you couldn't respond to.
Yes.
Am I right about that?
So far this year, yeah.
And those 271 meant that Boardman had to respond to those.
Yes.
Which is the way the deal.
That's the way we set it up.
there's no way you can guarantee Boardman you can show up every time they call.
Correct. Yeah, that's true, because again, we are regional.
You can't guarantee that.
Such a volume of trips. But there have been times in Boardman when we've had 6 ambulances there within a 60-minute period. So we do a good job. Yeah. I've really good people and good dispatch and everything. We do a good job.
You feel Boardman's just pulling out these little stats? This little...
Maybe a little bit. That might be what's happening. Yeah. And I mean, I understand. It's a levy and it's politics, you know.
Do you think the levy should pass? What happens if the levy pass? Do you have a stance? You don't live in Boardman, right? So it's not going to affect you. But you're a businessman in Boardman that operates ambulance service. What will it do for you?
Well, I think depending on whether it passes or it doesn't, either way is going to require us to look very hard at the future, because we are a private enterprise and we work in all these other communities. If we lose a big chunk of that, then our income changes because we don't get tax dollars. So then we have to look at what is available there still in Boardman for us. If they're doing all the trips and we're going to do a couple here and there, that might just financially force us to look at doing something else. I mean, I've always wanted to work with the fire departments, and we do, and I want to work with them. And we've got other places where the fire department has an ambulance, and we're there, and we get along fine. And I wish in this situation, my wish would have been that they would have actually talked to us and maybe got our opinion, about how to make things better, because we can always improve. We're not perfect. We can always improve. But even in the past, when they had studies done, they put together a study group in Boardman. I forget how many years ago it was, about whether they should have an ambulance. And we weren't even invited to the study group. And that was the first time I had an inkling of, boy, do they really want us here? I wasn't real sure, But again, we kept doing the job. And again, we don't want to go anywhere. But, it would depend now on what happens, really, what we do.
The way you described it, I don't want to put words in your mouth here, okay, is that I asked you what happens if it happens. And you said, and the way you made it sound was, if it passes, you would really have to reassess what happens there. If it fails, we just keep going with the agreement you have now?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. And again, if we can improve things, let's improve things. That's not a problem for us. We'll do whatever we can do to make things better.
Have you taken a public stance on whether you want to have it to pass or fail?
Not really, no.
No, is it not really, is it yes or no?
I haven't taken it.
Okay.
I have it stance. I mean, it probably sounds like leaning one way or the other, but I have a hard time doing it. I've got a lot of people that I respect, and I just want to let the public make their choice based on the information in front of them. And we've tried to get out there and put information out there about what we do and that sort of thing without stepping on anybody's toes, to then hopefully make the public an informed voter.
If it fails, you'd be willing to sit down with Boardman if there's an issue to get it done?
Yes.
Okay. I'm assuming you would. I don't know.
Absolutely.
Just assuming that.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Absolutely.
The audio clip that was played on that tape of they played it over a couple of times. Lane's not available. Lane's not available.
Yeah.
Was that a fair clip?
It actually, if you listen to it, when we first heard it, we were sort of shocked. We're like, wow, what's going on? So then, as we looked at it, we go, wait a minute. That's a call that came in. Our cars were tied up out there, and we didn't have anything else close enough that we felt would get there fast enough. And under that policy, under that standard operating agreement, we're supposed to, make sure that the fire department, that Medic 71 gets a call for that. And that all happens in there. You hear that. You hear our dispatcher say we don't have a car available, and then a few seconds later, this is all seconds actually. You hear Medic 71 say, "Well, we're finished where we're at. We'll take the call." Somebody had burned their hand, or I think that's what it was. And they said, "We'll take the call." And if you look at that, it's literally just a matter of seconds. And nobody didn't get an ambulance. We did what we're supposed to do. No, Boardman, we don't have a car available. Even with all the other ones we have, everybody's tied up, moved. We don't have it. Go, tell them to go ahead and go, because they have a car there. Tell them to go. And they did. And so that person got an ambulance. It wasn't like they didn't get an ambulance. They did get one.